Well, it's cold. Um, I'm in here on my general mule deer hunt. I just saw my first buck, finally. I mean, I say finally, it's 10:30 in the morning. He looked like a younger buck. He was with like 15 does probably. Last time when I was in here, there was deer everywhere. And I don't know if I just mistimed it or what's going on, but I saw a 6-point bull right off the bat this morning. Pretty decent bull for this area. And then I just saw that buck and 15 does. There's a kill in here, either a wolf killer or somebody already shot a buck in here or something, or a bull. Bunch of birds in this canyon. And I think that might be messing it up a little bit. I don't know. I think I'm at least going to give it a night and tomorrow morning. Tonight and tomorrow morning. But if I don't see anything, I might pack up and try to head into a different basin or something. I'm not sure. I was expecting a little better, so we'll see what happens. You dirty little bastard, I knew you guys were in here. Dropped across the canyon after that wolf. He bedded down. There's a couple deer moving in on the top of him. I don't know if he's gonna stay or not, but he had his head down and was sleeping. So I just dropped like 1,000 feet of elevation and gained like 800. I'm like 500 yards right now. I just need to get up. about 150 yards to where I can see. And it should be about 450 yards. I just relocated the wolf. About 400 yards, I think. It looks like the wind's not good, so I'm trying to get the rifle set up. I'm gonna have to move a little bit probably to get a shot, or I might try to howl and stand him up. The wolf, dead asleep at like 400 yards. There's all these matchstick deadfall and stuff that's still standing, and I just don't know how I'm gonna get the right angle on him. I'm probably gonna have to just risk it and either wait here for hours and hours or howl and try to get him to stand up. Problem is, if he stands up, he's not in a good spot. Like, I think I just need to wait him out. Yes! Oh, I just stoned him. I think I just freaking stoned him. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I spotted this wolf at like just over a mile this morning, and I took everything I had to like glass him without losing him for freaking like an hour probably. And finally he was charging down this north face slope over here, and I thought for sure, I was like, because he was about to go out of sight for me, and he just stopped and was sitting there. And I was like, please bed down, please bed down. Like, it was right about that time in the morning. And he lays down, and I'm like, well, don't get too excited. It's probably just his first bed. He's going to go somewhere else to bed. He's just taking a rest. And like 20 minutes later, he puts his head down and goes to sleep. And I freaking threw everything on my backpack. I always preach to people, like, you really have to, whether it's deer or elk or wolves, especially wolves, you really have to read their body language. Like, I knew as soon as he put his head down and was snoring, he was going to be there for a while. So I packed up everything I had, bombed like 1,000 feet or something down into the bottom of this canyon, and then came up, I don't know how much, the other side. And I was probably about 150 yards below where I am right now when I first spotted him. But there's all this matchstick timber, standing timber on the other side, and I could never see his vitals. So every time he was snoozing, I would crawl up with my stuff just a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And I finally got into a spot where I could see his vitals, but the way he was laying, I didn't feel comfortable enough to try to sneak one in there. But I was like, at some point he's gonna sit up. And I was just dry firing, taking some practice rounds. And he was only 385 yards. Like, for me, I know that's far for some people. For me, I was like, this, if as long as he doesn't bolt or something, I'm gonna get a good shot at this wolf. I just need to be patient. And then this crow started landing like 30-40 yards from him, and got closer and closer, and just kind of messing with him more and more, until I think in the shot it's right in the frame. I mean, it's right next to the wolf. Wolves and crows are like friends. It's weird. And that thing was right next to him, and it finally got him to just sit up. And he just, like, he didn't even sit up. He was like stretching or something, just kind of like put his legs underneath him and arched up. And I already had my crosshairs where I thought he was going to be. And when he stopped for just a second, I already had half the tension out of the trigger, and I just freaking let him fly. And it dumped him. He didn't go anywhere. He died right in his bed. I mean, he was like coughing on blood for a second, but I don't even think he was there. I think it killed him freaking instantly. And yeah, that was the craziest hunt. Like, probably the best I've ever been as a hunter, to be honest. Like, I have been on some awesome hunts, crazy hunts all over the place, but that was like the most intense. I crawled all the way up this ridge within sight of him, which I wouldn't advise. There on that north facing slope, and I just can't believe it. That was the coolest freaking hunt. I was telling some guys that I was up in here with the other day, I was like, I feel like there's wolves in here, because the deer are way spread out, not nearly like they were last year at the same time, and they also are really acting super skittish. And so were the elk. The elk were moving around a ton. You had bulls that were kind of going to catch up with the cows at night, and then we're just like in random spots during the day by themselves, which is kind of post-rut activity, but they were just acting really on edge. And I just had a feeling there was wolves in here. And somehow today at like 2,000 yards, like 20 minutes into legal shooting light, I like saw movement in this opening that's up here. And by the time I got the spotter, I was just glassing, couldn't find it, and I finally saw a wolf that was just sitting there staring my direction. And I was like, holy shit, it's a fucking wolf. I just knew it wasn't a deer or something, or if it was spooked, but it was just trotting. I just knew it was like a wolf or a coyote. It's a pretty wolf. Not sure how big it is. It looks huge, but I was also 385 yards away, so gonna pack everything up and go get it, man. I'm so stoked. I'm on my way up. We're about to see how close my pin was. I think it's gonna be right on. I'm so excited to see this thing. I don't care how big it is, but just to get it done, it's freaking awesome. Another 80 yards or so. I'll let you know when I'm up there. I see something. See if you guys see it too. It's a big bad wolf. Heck yeah. Well, shots don't get a lot better than that.
Oh man, it's a good sized wolf too. Holy shit. Holy shit, that's a big wolf. I was not expecting that. What the hell? Hey wolf. You guys have almost bit me a number of times. Hey wolf. Look at those chompers, man. Yeah, it's a good wolf. What the heck? I was not expecting that. Dog. Holy cow. His fur is beautiful. That's a 2025 or 2024. I was gonna say my first wolf of the year, but I don't think that it is. Anyways, guys, just to recap, I glassed this thing from about 1.5 miles from my camp and stayed on him through all this burnt timber and everything and watched him bed down right here. And I made a giant play, dropped a ton of elevation, gained some on the other side, or ton on the other side, like 800 feet, and then crawled up the ridge adjacent to him until I had a little shooting window right here. And he was laying down like this, and I didn't feel comfortable with that shot. So I wanted him to stand up, and the second he stood up, I just hammered him. And he just kind of stood up with his front end, and as you can see, I mean, he was quartering to me just a little bit. That shot was perfect, and it put him down freaking immediately, so I couldn't be happier. Yeah, big dog. I'm surprised he's out here running by himself. I thought it was going to be a pup, but he's a solid dog. One of the prettiest gray coats that I've ever shot. Just totally really grateful, really humbled right now that I was able to do that. It's the middle of deer season, but if I see a wolf, it's immediately a wolf hunt. So thanks for watching, guys.
I just spotted a buck down the bottom of this basin. It's super far down there. It was like 1,500 yards, and it was still pretty dark, but I could see his frame. I think it's the same buck I saw last night when I was packing out the same buck I saw last night when I was packing out my wolf. So I'm scurrying down this canyon right now. Hopefully I can see him before he goes too far from that bed. If he stays in that bed and I can get like 500 yards, it'd be perfect. Just wait for him to stand up. But we'll see. About 670, 700 from where I last saw that buck. I saw him when I was about 800 yards, 900 yards, feeding in these trees over here. He seemed pretty content. I thought he had gone up over the top, but he looked good. I've only got like 1 day left, so after today, so if he's a good buck, I'll put him down as long as he stays where he's at. 670, I'm going to try to get to like 600 and find a spot that I can see pretty good. I might have to pop out in this opening to my left, which I don't want to do, but way. He worked a little to the left from when I spotted him this morning, which is good because he came to me a little bit. He gave me a little better angle. So, fingers crossed we can get on him. Well, I don't think I gave an update after that last one. So basically I spotted that buck in the very bottom of this drainage this morning. And I worked all the way down here trying to be as careful as I could just because it was so quiet. If I rolled some rocks or something, I was scared it was going to bust him. And I got all the way down in here and found like a decent spot to set up. And the last place I had seen him, he was about 550 yards from where I ended up setting up. And couldn't find him. Just was looking through the spotter, was looking through my binos, and then was just sitting here looking at the hillside and spotted him like all the way up, going over this finger ridge that he was on. I think he just sat and he never stopped. Like I saw him when he was like 40 yards from the top. I was like, oh, I'll have time. He walked right up over the top and disappeared. So I think he just had a spot that he wanted to eat, which I know right where it was, and there's a bunch of green stuff in there, like really green still. And I think he just was where he wanted to be, and then there's a timber patch on the other side. It's big enough that I don't want to go timber pound it for him, because I think I'll blow him out indefinitely. Last night when I spotted this buck, he was just right about where he was tonight, and then he was bedded 30, 40 yards from there this morning when I got here, when I first spotted him. So I'm just going to lay here for the next 8-10 hours and hope right before dark he comes up over the top and close to the same spot that he did. I've been building this little shooting position right here. He was right there. So, hopefully, yeah, that's about all you can say. Hopefully he comes back over tonight before it's too dark and I can shoot him. I'd probably shoot you. It's like the last day. Okay. No way. Okay. Is that sap? Yeah, just a little sap. Guys, well, not guys. Pretty sure we got a buck down. That there was a nice 3-point, like that probably a lot of people would have shot above this buck. And he was bedded. I just couldn't see him. I could just see his horns moving every once in a while. From where I glassed him, I thought I was going to be able to get up here and shoot him, but I got up here and I just could not see him and wasn't going to try to poke in a shot where I could hardly see. And I just was like, well, if it's meant to be, he's going to get up and he's going to feed into the opening instead of the timber. And I saw him start shaking his head a lot and stuff after sitting here for a long time. And I just was like, well, he's going to get up. Like, he's uncomfortable. It's raining, you know. I think he's getting wet and he's getting uncomfortable. And, like, I hadn't even finished saying it in my mind. And he stands up out of his bed. And I could still barely see him, but I knew he was standing. And he turned and was scratching himself for a while. And he turned the wrong way, like he was going to go into the timber. I was like, oh, no. And at the last second, but the 3-point was feeding out into the opening. So I was like, okay, that's good. And he turned and started feeding the same way the 3-point did at the last second. Sorry, my mind's all jumbled right now. And he stopped in an opening and I was squeezing the trigger. And like right when I was about to touch one off, he started walking again. So I got lucky. And then he stopped again with his foot forward and kind of looked up towards the other buck. And I was like, now's my chance. And I touched one off and it looked like it hit him with that shoulder forward. It looked like it hit him right behind the shoulder. One thing I've learned with filming shots is that they can look deceiving. He ran over into a spot I couldn't really see. And there's only 30 minutes left until it's pitch dark. And I just don't want to risk bumping him. It was only 480-yard shot. Felt perfect about the shot, but I just don't want to risk bumping him. It's going to be like probably 15, 20 degrees tonight, and it's already raining and snowing. So if I did have to track him off the blood trail, that's already shot because it's raining hard. So I'm just going to do what my gut is telling me to do, which is always what you should do. And I'm going to back out and I'm going to come in the morning and first thing in the morning and climb up in there. And I think he's going to be dead right where I last saw him. I mean, he ran. He didn't look like he was doing good. I was just watching with my eyes at, 490 yards, but he ran. And there's like one little group of trees that he ran behind, just kind of the tops of them that have the branches, and I couldn't see him. He never came out. I've watched, and the 3-point ran uphill about 40 yards and was looking down right to that spot and just stared for probably about 10 minutes, and then he walked into the timber. So I'm pretty sure that buck is dead right there. Man, I'm super grateful. It's the 23rd of October, and in this area, it's only open till the 24th. So I had one more day to get it done. Happened to spot this buck, and he's a good buck, Like I don't think I would have been able to pass him regardless. He's not super wide, but he has really deep forks. He's just compact. He's a really, really just handsome deer. So I'm excited to get my hands on him tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he's going to be dead right there, but I just have this gut feeling that I need to back out and come back in the morning. So there's a lot of deadfall that's all slick and stuff up there too, and I want to be able to take my time. So the meat's going to be perfectly fine overnight. So yeah, really, really stoked right now. Hopefully all goes well in the morning.
All right, guys. So pretty much already told the story, but I hard charged in here last night. Got to 490 on this buck, and I just needed him to feed out the correct way. the stars aligned. He ended up walking out, and as you can tell, he's a freaking stud. I mean, not only is he just like a really big mule deer, but he's super old, really mature. That's always what we're going for. He's all business. Just a really deep forked heavy buck. Was able to come in here this morning and locate him pretty much right away. He died right where I thought he did, but I still, I said last night you got to make calls off your gut, and my gut feeling was just to leave him for the night. It was pouring rain. I wasn't gonna be able to find a blood trail. It was already almost dark. It's like 15 degrees out here right now, so I knew the meat was gonna be fine, and he was piled up right where I thought he was, and it's pretty rough terrain, so it'll be a lot easier to get him out here during the day. But everything worked out perfect. Was able to shoot a buck and a wolf 2 days apart. Just hunting in freaking awesome country, and super grateful.